Looting was going on in Baghdad. We had no control over the borders. We would have had to take American soldiers, send them into the villages and farms and houses of the Shia enlisted men, and force them back into an army under officers who abused them and brutalized them. Second problem, practical problem, was we had no place to put them because the barracks were all gone, the bases were gone. The political problem was even more decisive, in my view. The Kurds were very clear, the Kurdish leaders were very clear in telling me that if we called back if the Americans called back Saddam's army, they would secede from Iraq. That would be the breakup of Iraq, which would set off, first of all, a civil war inside of Iraq, and probably a larger regional war where the other Kurdish populations in the countries around Iraq would have gotten involved in trying to support an independent Kurdistan. So there were those political problems, and then there was a third one. Thanks to the wise decision of Grand Ayatollah Sistani, the Shia, who were certainly a majority of the population, were cooperating with the occupation. And the Shia leaders we spoke to about the army were just as clear as the Kurds had been, because they remembered that it was Saddam's army, particularly the Republican Guards, who had slaughtered them by the tens of thousands in the wake of the invasion of Kuwait in 1991. And they said as well, we cannot cooperate with you if you're going to bring back Saddam Hussein's army. So there were very strong political reasons and practical reasons not to recall the army. Then the question was how to build an army. And we did build an army. We didn't do it fast enough. But the army, despite all the problems, despite all the chaos of the last couple of years, the army is still the most respected institution in Iraq. And we said when we built that army that any member of the former army up to the level of colonel can become part of the new army. And in fact, that's what happened. By the time I left, I think we had by that time 3 or 4 battalions, I don't remember. Most of the enlisted men in the new army, they were not conscripts, it was a volunteer army. All of the NCOs and the officers came from the old army. So the argument that the people from the old army, which was implied in your question, had no alternative is simply not true. They could have gone out and started a business. They could have joined the new army. There was no tinge on that. I don't dispute that some of them decided to join the insurgency. Not actually in 2003 and 2004, more likely in 2006 and 2007. But again, this was a decision that was considered, and I think it was the right decision.
ذكرت آية الله العظمى السيستاني وأنه ساعد في بعض الأمور، وكان هناك موضوع يتعلق بصياغة الدستور الجديد للعراق، وكان هناك مفاوضات صعبة تجري بين الأطراف المختلفة. تتحدث بكتابك على أنه كانت مرحلة شديدة التحدي. لم تلتقي السيستاني، لماذا لم تلتقيه شخصيا، وما هو تقييمك للدور الذي لعبه خاصة في المراحل الحرجة خلال تواجدك في العراق؟
Grand Ayatollah Sistani made a decision that he would not meet with any members of the CPA or occupation.